What's up? What's happening? Welcome back here to Where in the Sports World. I'm Travis Eldridge. We've got another awesome guest again today. I'm joined by former UCF basketball star, current pro basketball player, Aubrey Dawkins. You may remember him from when he dropped 32 points on Zion Williamson and Duke in the NCAA tournament second round a couple of years ago. That nearly helped UCF knock off that Blue Devils team. It was one of the best games of the tournament that year. Duke also happened to be where his dad, Johnny Dawkins, played in college, becoming a Blue Devils legend. Now, Johnny, the head coach at UCF, where he coached Aubrey, his son. So safe to say, Aubrey has basketball in his blood. He's now in his first season playing overseas in Germany, currently the top scorer for Gottingen in basketball Bundesliga. On this episode, we'll talk to Aubrey about following in his dad's footsteps, adjusting to life in Germany, being teammates with Tacko Fall in college. We'll see if we'll share some good stories with Tacko there and much, much more. It's time to catch up with Aubrey Dawkins, who joins us from Gottingen, Germany. How much have you tried to immerse yourself in a new language, being in a new country, trying to adjust?
It's tough because everyone here speaks English for the most part. So it's tough to really fully, invest in it because it's an easy shortcut around it. You can usually speak English to most people and they understand. So it's not too much, not as much as I would like to, put it like that.
So not too much of an adjustment so far.
No, it's been pretty smooth.
Basketball-wise, what has it been like going from playing in the G League last year to now playing overseas?
The game over here is different for sure. But players are very talented, very good players, very smart players over here. So it's the level's been right there. It's a very good league. And so I've had fun with it, just learning the game, seeing a different way to look at the game over here, and a different style of play. So it's been fun.
When you go through, I asked everybody this because I think it's so fascinating. When you figure out the end of last year, which obviously was a unique end of the year, and you're looking at your options of where do I want to play and continue my career, walk me through the process of how you end up on this opportunity in Germany and, kind of how you figure out where you're going to go.
Well, for me, it's just making the most of the time I have playing the game of basketball. Right? We all have a ticking clock in this game, and for me, like I said, I wanted to make the most of my time, and with the G League being pushed back and nobody knowing when the season's going to officially start, it just made the most sense to play over here or play, look overseas for different options to play in, and it worked out. This is a great spot, and I'm very happy and blessed to be here because it's a good opportunity, and it's been fun.
So you would have probably maybe tried to play another year in the G League if it's like normal circumstances, or was this always kind of an option?
This is always an option. I can't really say for sure exactly how, if it was a normal year how it would have gone. But this is always an option, and obviously the G League is what it is, and that was an option as well. So we just have to weigh the options and see kind of which one felt better and which one was worked best towards my career.
What's the best way to describe a year in the G League? Because I know it's like minor league baseball. What's the best way to describe it?
The G League is the experience is different for a lot of guys. So I mean, the best thing I can say for anybody who's considering going that route is just to be ready for anything, because you don't really know what to expect. Like I said, different organizations have a different setup in with their G League team, and so it's hard to give an accurate assessment for everybody, because you just don't really know. For me, it was much different from some of my teammates' experience, and I talked to them, other guys that I know who play in the G League or who are on my team now. They had a much different experience than I did, so it's just it was surprising to hear that. So it's just you never really know. Just be ready for anything. Be ready to adapt and adjust to. Because it'll be a ride for sure.
What's your story, like best way to sum up your experience in Erie in the G League? Like what's the go-to one that kind of like sums up what the whole deal is like?
That's tough. I never been asked that question like that. The best way to sum it up.
Or any story that kind of gives people a feel for, like what the experience is like.
it was tough. It was a tough year for me because I was coming off an injury, and so obviously uh, the staff you may be used to dealing with from a college level or even the NBA level is different in the G League. So now your resources are a little bit different, maybe a little less than what you were used to. So you have to work around that and try and find ways to really help yourself and become self-proficient in what you do because you're so used to being, given things and handing things, and now you have to maybe work a little bit for your own to make things happen. So, which isn't a bad thing at all. It's just different.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was a tough year for me with the injury and whatnot, and trying to make the most of that and battle through that. But yeah, I mean, the people in it were great. It was tough for everybody, but we made it work.
So your dad, as many people probably know, is Johnny Dawkins, who's now obviously a college coach, was a tremendous player at Duke, especially. Growing up the son of Johnny Dawkins, what is that like from a very, very early age, especially when you're growing up in Durham around a guy who's a Duke basketball legend?
It's I mean, like anything, it I don't want to say it has pros and cons in a bad way, but it's something you don't really. It's an interesting dynamic, I guess, when you have a parent who was really good at something in life, and then you have to come up under that, and you're already automatically looked at a certain way and put in a certain light and put in a certain bubble, just because of that. And so you have to navigate that as you grow up and become your own person. Navigate that with different friends, different family, different all types of things you have to worry about navigating. But it was really, really cool to see the amount of respect he got and still gets as an athlete, the athlete he was at Duke and being in Durham. And I wish I could have seen him play live. But it's a really cool experience. And I mean, that's all I can say, honestly.
He was the pre-YouTube generation. Like that stuff is popping up on YouTube now.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned it comes with perks. Like you're around that Duke program growing up in your early years of basketball. What's that like?
I mean, like I said, you got a lot of cool experiences. You see a lot of players. Obviously, Duke basketball is what Duke basketball is, and we all know them to be, like the epitome of college basketball. So I'm growing up seeing guys like Shane Battier and JJ Redick and Daniel Ewing and Sean Darker, all guys I can just name, and it's guys coming back to campus, seeing guys, and obviously I know Grant Hill, but seeing him a lot, and it's just awesome. Jason Williams, Chris Duhon, guys that are legends at Duke and legends in basketball. You see on a regular basis as college guys, and you don't know that beforehand, but now looking back on it, it's like, wow, a lot of guys don't have that experience to be in such a I don't know, it's just crazy. But it's really cool, and that's something that I really appreciate in my life and my career of basketball, and a lot of those values and stuff I saw and learned from being in that environment. I've tried to keep with me and to help me build my career and become the player I am today. So.
And you get to shoot at Cameron Indoor Stadium when you're
working out at Cameron Indoor Stadium, all that stuff, man. Obviously, Coach K, knowing him for all my life and just seeing him, just on a regular day. Doesn't happen for a lot of people, but something that was my life, and so I never took for granted,
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Coach K, and obviously he had a special relationship with your dad. What kind of relationship did you still have? Is he a guy that you felt like at some point you could pick his brain on something? Is there still a relationship there? Where is it?
If I really felt the urge to and desire to, I feel like we could make that happen. But that's something that's really explored these days? Yeah. No. But I feel like with the relationship my father and him have, absolutely. If I really wanted to speak to him on something and needed to connect, for sure, I think we can make it happen. But it was really good. I haven't seen or spoken to him in a long time since before that Duke game. So it was really good, even though the outcome wasn't, what any of us wanted it to be on our side. Yeah. It was still really cool to be able to see him and shake his hand in that environment after all those years, him seeing me grow up and working out in Duke and to now be on opposing sides of a game and still, it's just crazy how life works sometimes. So it was a really cool experience. It was really fun. And yeah, those are moments that I'll obviously cherish forever.
You mentioned the game. second round NCAA tournament. It ultimately ends up being your last college basketball game. It kind of comes full circle for you. You're playing
Yeah, no, for sure.
your dad's alma mater. What because you're obviously on the wrong side, but you have an incredible game. What stands out to you about that game? Like when you look back on it now, a couple years later, what's the lasting memory?
The missed shot, the missed layup. Honestly, that is the lasting memory of that game that I think about most. But looking past that and beyond that, I think what we did, and I mean I've spoken about it before, but just as a program in UCF and what we were able to accomplish, that is what I feel most proud about, and what makes me smile about that game and that experience is that we took UCF somewhere they haven't been before, on a stage that they've never seen before. And so for us as a basketball program and doing that, and the teammates I had, a lot of guys who, never experienced a tournament before, never, had a chance to play in that. So just all those things come together for us, and we make one special year like that. I think that right there in itself is really fun and really cool. It's something that all my teammates and I can all have a bond over forever. Obviously against players who are now, very good and NBA players, and Zion, RJ, and Cam. So it's really, really cool. And so I think for all of us, like I said, it's something that the outcome wasn't what we wanted it to be, but there's still a lot to be taken from that and what we accomplished, for UCF.
I'm glad you have that perspective but I know the shot eats at you, because if you're any athlete in any level, like you think of the what if moments almost more than the, like I settled and that was a cool moment, but there's always that but.
Absolutely. It's funny. I just talked about that game today in the locker room. So it's funny. It comes up. It comes up often. It's not. It's still in the back of my mind, and I don't think it'll go anywhere anytime soon.
Like, do you go to the gym and just like do that shot a couple of times at the end, just like, hey, I got that one?
I have moments in practice and games and whatnot where I'll see that shot in my head, and obviously it's not a shot you try and go practice because it's a put back, a layup off the rim, so it's like something but it's an instinct play. But I'll see it in my mind a lot when I'm in games and whatnot. I'm just like, I have in myself hopefully one that I'll be able to redeem myself for that shot somewhere further down my career. Whether it's this year, following years, or whatever it may be, that I can redeem myself and it hit one of those. Because I need to change that. I need to change that narrative there. I need to fix that.
So along with that game, about that program, I think the other thing that's most talked about that UCF team is your teammate Tacko Fall, because he's become like a phenomenon. We're up here in Boston, and he's like the most loved Celtic, and he barely plays. What's your go-to Tacko Fall story? Like, what sums him up?
Go-to Tacko Fall story. I don't. He's a very fun guy. He's obviously very tall and intimidating when you see him, because he's 7'6" or 7, however tall he is. But he's a great guy, very nice, super fun, and he loves to joke around and play. And I can't even really. There's so many things that just happen throughout a day with him or throughout a practice. I just know like go-to story. It's just I can just remember things like him trying to fit in my car and saying my car is small, and I just drive a Dodge Charger, and I'm like, Dodge Charger's that's a full-size car.
Yeah.
That's not a small car by any means, but to him it's like, and just things like that. And it's just funny. Like his life is so different from ours. We see the world, and even me being 6'6", it's
you're a tall dude. Like, you're not short.
Some things are easy for me, but I can only imagine what it's like for somebody who's a whole foot taller than me in this world. And it's like, man, I don't have leg room here. What's your life like? If I got to duck through some doorways, what do you have to duck through? It's crazy. I can't even imagine.
I just can't imagine him walking through an airport and having to go through all the things you got to do to like get on an airplane.
Yeah, no, that's tough for him, because one, walking through it when we flew commercial most of the time for UCF, so obviously walking through airports, and he's the tallest person anybody will ever see in their life. And
Yeah.
regardless of if he's a basketball player or not, he's gonna be famous because he's so tall. And so when you see him, it's like, oh my gosh, if you have no idea who he is, it's still, can I have a picture with you? Can I talk to you? Who are you? Why? How'd you get to be so tall? Those things are just natural. And so people are always just stopping and staring in awe and dropping their jaw. And so we always just try to walk as swiftly as possible and get where we're going, because he won't tell anybody no. So anybody who asks for a picture or autograph, whatever, he's saying yes to, and so it's like, we got to play in the catch, Tacko.
So he was the star of the UCF team walking through the airport.
Oh man, yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, for sure.
You ultimately had a chance to play for your dad at UCF,
Mm-hmm.
which must have meant a lot. But you started at Michigan when he was at Stanford. I know there was a prep year involved when you were coming out of high school. Was the ultimate goal at some point, if there was a possibility to try to play for your dad, like was that in the back of your mind growing up, or did it just happen that way?
That's kind of happened that way. I really had no intention of ever playing for my dad in college. And so it's funny, it did happen, right? It was never in my mind. I always wanted to, like I said, this is one of those things that comes with being, a coach's kid, or like I said, or following somebody's footsteps, is that you kind of want to create your own lane and become your own man or woman in your life, and not, seem like, and I guess maybe it shouldn't be like this, but you shouldn't want, there's that pride about being my own person, not taking handouts and not feeling like I took a handout. But you can't choose the life you're born into, so maybe it shouldn't be like that. But that's the way it is. That's the way you feel. And so for me, it was like I wanted to be my own player. I wanted to create my own lane and make it happen on my own, and not feel like my dad gave me a scholarship. So when Michigan or any of the schools that offer me scholarships that I'm grateful for today, those really made me feel like, okay, I'm proud of myself, and I put the time in to get those. It had nothing to do with him or him talking to anybody else. They wanted me for me and what I could bring to a team. So that really, it meant a lot to me.
When did it hit you? Because I mean, you're trying to follow your dad's footsteps in terms of being a great basketball player, and it's tough when you're playing the exact same sport. When did it hit you like, hey, you know what? I am my own guy, like in terms of going to college and playing at this level, I'm ready. When did it hit you?
My senior year of high school was when I felt like I was really came into my own a little bit. Was I great? No, because I still was a little awkward and lanky because I hit a huge growth spurt. But
Yeah, didn't you grow like a foot between sophomore and senior year?
Yeah. So it happened quick, but I started to kind of grow into my own body and jumping better and get my coordination down and whatnot. And so by that time I was like, okay, I feel like I can do this. And I obviously played a lot with the Stanford guys pickup wise, those players there. So if I'm playing with those guys in pickup, and this is, Pac-12 basketball, these are good players. I was like, I can play college basketball. I'm certain I can. And so by the time I finished high school and had no offers, I was a little hurt. And I was like, oh man, well, got to find another route. And so the prep school came along, and I never lost my hope or lost my drive to chase my dream and be a college basketball player. And so that's kind of how it worked out. I just stayed with it and pushed through.
What was the first time when you got to UCF where you went, oh, he's not just my dad on the sideline, he's actually my coach?
Well, he made it known very quickly that's exactly what it was. It was I know for a fact that he had a lot of fun with that. And obviously, it's I am his son, and we're with my teammates and whatnot. So he is going to pick on me a little more and say things that he can get away with just because he knows me. So but he made it known very quickly. But obviously, none of it was ever any malicious intent or trying to put me down. It was always just in the spirit of the game and having fun and trash talk, that's basketball.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he had a built-in guinea pig on
exactly. Yes. And so it was very fun. But like I said, he made it known very quickly, and my teammates got a kick out of it. They loved every second of that.
It struck me because I forgot, like you had to sit out a whole nother year after the transfer year because you got hurt. How brutal is that? You're playing college basketball. You just played 2 years in the Big Ten, and now on top of this sitting out a year to transfer, now you're like, man, like I got to shot it again.
Yeah, that's life, right? You can't really you can't plan and prepare for things like that. But I mean, it's a very eye-opening, perspective building experience. It teaches you or asks you how much you love the game, really. And so when you go through things like that and have to continually fight through 2 years sitting out and you're seeing guys play, seeing guys do this, seeing guys do that, and it tests you. And but I got through. I made it through, and I ultimately did what I came there to do. And so I wouldn't have it any other way. Obviously, it sucks, but that's part of my journey, part of my career. And now I have that knowledge, and I've been through those trying times, and I think I'm better because of it.
Yeah. What did you pick up 2 years away from having a chance to really play?
Like, what did I learn from that? Or like just from a basketball standpoint, the game kind of slowed down for me. You look at the game in a different way when you're on the bench, and not a coach, but I'm not playing obviously, so I'm sitting there helping teammates out and whatnot, and telling them what I see on the court. And the game slows down when you do that without you even realizing it slows down, but it does. And so that helps me when I get back on the court. And from the standpoint of life and ups and downs, you just gotta try and stay in the middle. You can't get too high, get too low, because you never know what life throws at you. And so you have to be ready to take on the tough times, take on the good times. That's life.
That UCF season, your final year in the end, you guys knocked off Houston and then beat Cincinnati all in like a 5-day span. And because you watch college teams go through this, so I'm interested in your perspective. When you guys win those 2 gigantic games in a row, are you guys on cloud 9? How does a coach bring you down off of that? And obviously you ended up losing, I think, to Temple the following game. But yes. Where are you guys feeling in the locker room when you do that?
Well, no, we were not on cloud 9 because, like I said, my coach and my father is very good at, bringing guys back to reality. This is college basketball. Anything can happen any day, so we're not gonna try and like I said, you don't ride the high, you don't ride the low, you stay right in the middle, because you know that the game is like this, life is like this. So you have to understand that just as we play great over this, and we'll play great the next day. No matter what we do, that's just how the game goes. So we need to make sure that we understand that and continue to hang our hats where we pride ourselves, and that's defense. So as long as we take care of that, the game will it'll work out for us usually. But yeah, he definitely kept us humble in that experience.
Spoken like a true coach's son.
Oh yeah, well
Where's your game at now, a couple of years removed from college, compared to your senior year? How has your game developed now being a professional?
I mean, you kind of, I guess depending on where you go and where you play, you have no option but to get better, in my opinion. And obviously it's kind of on you now, because you are a professional. You are your own business, so you have to put your time in. Nobody's making you get in the gym. Nobody's forcing you to get in the gym anymore. This is on you now. So for me, I'll continue to do what I always do and just work on my overall game and try and add new things to it and put those things on the court. And it's worked out. I think I've gotten better and really, and just generally speaking, across the board as a player and understanding the game, knowing the game, making reads, shooting, passing, everything. And I just want to continue to make strides in that for my career.
What are because obviously it can be such little differences between having an opportunity one league to another to continue to move up. What are the little things that you work on that you feel like can take your game to the next level?
Well, I think defense being one of them. Because that's obviously a big part of basketball. I think we all forget, because we watch so many highlights and so much. Basketball is it's on social media so much. All you do is see the highlights of guys on offense, guys shooting threes, crossovers, all those sorts of things, which are good. You know what I'm saying? And it's part of the game, but by the same token, the game's played on both sides of the ball, and so you can't forget about the defensive side, because a lot of guys simply get paid because of defense. And so if you're a guy that can play both sides of the ball and be a factor on defense, that makes you valuable. So for me, just defense for sure, and focusing on that. I'm trying to be the best player I can be on that side of the ball. And then on offense, continue to do what I do and not try and I guess, chase things to become something I'm not. I'm an athlete who can shoot the ball. So let me continue to focus on things that people like about me and get better in those areas. And the other areas continue to work on, because obviously I want to be a complete player. But never forget, what makes me attractive to coaches and GMs and whatnot. So just to focus on those things and continue to grow my game overall.
How do you evaluate yourself year to year? Is it what opportunities you're given in terms of what league and what job opportunities you're given? Is it like a personal thing? Like, how do you evaluate where you are and how if you're successful or not?
Well, that's tough in my second year pro.
Yeah, I know. That's a loaded question. Sorry.
No, for sure. Yeah. I just my main goal is to have fun with the game. That's the only evaluation I can ultimately have. If I'm enjoying what I'm doing, I know I'm doing the right thing. If it's fun, if I feel satisfied, if I feel fulfilled in my role and what I'm doing, then I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I do. And so that's all I can really chase is that right there. Because I know if that's going right for me, I know the rest will take care of itself. I know I'll ultimately, be able to do what I want to do and follow my dreams at the end of the day, because I'm saying that's what it's all about. It's not about the money, not about fame or anything else that comes from basketball. It's just about having fun with it and enjoying the game you love. And so that's for me.
It's a good way to look at it, because like if you get to do what you love, like the longer you get to do it, the better off it's going to be.
Absolutely. It keeps the stress and anxiety that life can bring on you. It kind of keeps that. If you focus on those things, it kind of keeps the stress off you a lot.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. All right, we'll finish up with kind of 3 off the radar questions a little bit, 3 for the road, have some fun.
Yeah.
We mentioned you had a chance to grow up shooting in Cameron Indoor growing up. What's your favorite gym to shoot at in the entire world? Any place you've ever been? Where's your favorite place to shoot?
Favorite gym to shoot at? That's a very tough question. Let me think. Honestly, UCF practice facility.
Okay.
It's not huge. It's just a gym, really. 2 hoops and it works. It works. It's nice. There's no windows in there. It's just a box. Come in, get your shots up. Nobody really knows you're in there. Get out. It's nice. It's a nice place to get away from things.
No, that's a good one. Well, I say this because I went to Syracuse and I didn't play, but I had a chance a couple of times to shoot at the Carrier Dome when it was empty.
Yep.
It was the most difficult place to shoot in the country because there's no depth perception.
Yeah, no, that's tough. That's tough. People don't realize it about playing in, especially really big arenas. When you shoot the ball, it's like shooting, just throwing it out into the ocean. You can't. Yeah. There's no. All you see is the rim, and when it's clear behind the backboard, it's hard to really gauge. But that's where muscle memory comes into play.
Right. It's just like the rim just floating there, and it's like you can hit it. It takes you a little bit to adjust.
For sure.
So you grew up on the East Coast. You lived on the West Coast a little bit once your dad took the job at Stanford. If you had one place to live, would it be East Coast or West Coast?
East Coast for sure. I love the West Coast. The West Coast is very nice. It spoils you with the weather, but the East Coast for sure.
All right, and you were in North Carolina, so the weather wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that great either.
It's kind of in between,
Yeah, exactly. In moderation,
Right. Yeah. I mean, nothing is like Palo Alto in January when it's 65 degrees and sunny.
No. That spoils you. Now you got me thinking back to those days, and that weather was very nice. I mean, Florida's nice too, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But Florida's so humid in the summer, that's tough. Yeah, no, California is nice.
Yeah.
But I was the East Coast for sure.
Well, what's the weather like where you're at? Cold?
Cold and rainy. And gray.
A lot of time in the gym.
A lot.
Finally, last one before we let you go. What's the one piece of food or one place you need to go the first time when you land back in the United States? What do you miss the most?
These are tough questions. It's a lot of options. That's overwhelming, honestly.
I know.
Well, if things are open when I get back,
Yeah.
Place called Cafe Rio.
Okay.
Burritos, quesadillas. It's just just I need it.
I've heard the Mexican isn't quite the same in Europe.
Yeah, it's not. I haven't personally tried any Mexican food out here, but some of my teammates have, and they said it was leaving a little bit to be desired.
Hey,
That's okay. Yeah,
you win some, you lose some.
For
You
sure.
just got to embrace this new situation.
Exactly. I'm not coming over expecting to get great Mexican food. It's not in my thought process.
Exactly. Well, Aubrey, hey man, we appreciate the time. Good luck here the rest of the way. Hopefully, we'll catch up sometime down the road.
Absolutely. Thank you.